Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and we're continuing our journey of looking at the top 20 rated puzzles of a 1-star difficulty rating. Now, if you look carefully on today's puzzle, or today's thumbnail I should say, you'll be able to spot the number 11, and that's essentially the top 11 puzzle that we're looking at. Now, it's titled Always the Minimum, but you can see I took a completely polar opposite interpretation of this with, gold coins raining down from the sky. Now, I think you can just about make out the outline of various currencies. Some of them may be familiar. Now, this is purely coincidence. I'm certainly not making any or giving any investment advice here at all. But enough of that. Let's take a look at today's puzzle. So we have Always the Minimum by Rathbun. And it's got a fairly straightforward set of rules, which is normal Sudoku rules apply. So that means the digits 1 to 9 in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. Regular viewers of this channel will see that this is a very familiar set of rules, particularly this one. Normal arrow rules apply. So you've got, for example, this arrow here, which has 3 digits. Once you sum up these 3 on this arrow, they should come up to the sum of a value that can be written into this circle. So whatever the sum is, it is clearly a digit between 1 to 9 to be able to be placed here. We also have normal killer cage rules apply. So you'll see that there are 4 cages that are outlined here with a dashed line. And in the top left corner, you'll have a digit that we need to add up to. So here it says 11, and that means that these 4 cells that I've got highlighted in yellow have to sum up to 11. Now, normally, part of killer cage rules is the numbers have to be unique within the cage. This is fairly easy. It doesn't even have to be spelt out today because all the cages you can see, this 11 cage, this other 11 cage, are fully contained within the box and therefore absolutely have to be unique, made up of unique digits. And then lastly, we have normal little killer rules apply. So the little killer rules are essentially these arrows outside of the grid that are pointing almost at diagonals that have to add up to the value that's shown. So for example, I'm hovering around the 17 with an arrow pointing towards these 3 cells. Whatever these 3 cells are, they need to add up to 17 when you sum them all up. Well, that's all the rules we have, and Eric has certainly determined that we do not require any digits in the grid. This is almost tradition now on Sudoku Sleuth on our channel. And if you want to play along, link will be in the description down below. With that said, let me restart the clock and get started. So, I think the most obvious part is these cages. There's really only one way of being able to get to the value that's shown in them. So a 10 cage composed of 4 cells, if you use the absolute minimum, which is 1, 2, 3, and 4, that will add up to 10. And therefore, there's no real other way of getting to a 10 killer cage. Now, the 11 you might think has a little bit of wiggle room because it's 11. It's one more than 10. But really, all you can do is use 1, 2, and 3 to get to 6, and then the 5 to get to 11. If you try and use any other digits, you will exceed 11. Now, you can see there's a little bit of Sudoku opportunities here. We've got 1, 2, and 3 repeated in the top 2 rows, meaning this has to be 1, 2, and 3. You can see that happening consistently because the cages are placed very deliberately in in the corner of each of these boxes. So all of these arrows are 1, 2, and 3. And there we go. We get our first digit. In fact, we get 4 of them within a minute. These are all 6s. Add up 1, 2, and 3, and you get to a 6. So I'm imagining the next step to this has got to be the killer cages. And really what I'm looking at is what's the most restricted? I mean, this 22 cage So the 17 cage and the 16 cage, I mean, whilst tempting, because they're in 3 cells, and even if I think about, the next minimum values here, which given we place 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 6, I could place 5 and 7, that will get me to 12, but it gives me a huge amount of freedom in here. Essentially, any digit in 1, 2, 3, and 4 would work. So I'm dismissing the 16, I'm dismissing the 17. I think they will be helpful eventually, but I want to take a look at the 22 because I strongly suspect this is the most restricted. So the minimum we can put in here is 45, 4 and 5, I mean. Minimum we can put in here is a 4, and the minimum we can put in here is a 4, 5. So that's 9, 9, that's 18, that's a 4, that's a given digit now. Maybe the 24 cage, that's 4 and 5. That's also as low as 4 and 5, that's 18. But I can put a 6 in here. I need another 6. And the minimum this is 4 or 7. So I'm just going to finish that thought. It's clearly not the minimum that we're looking for. But if these two are the minimum with a 9, and these two are the minimum, another 9, that's 18. That's 6 away. And given I've already placed 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6, we clearly know that 4 is not the answer. Sorry, 7 is not the answer, which is the next possible digit, because it would be too much even if I put all the minimums in here. So this has to be 4, but these are not 4, 5 pairs. We're going to have to work a bit harder to figure out what they are. Probably the 25. Minimum here is 7. Minimum here is 5. Minimum in here is 4, 5. So that's already at 12. Plus a 9, that's 21. Plus the 4, that gives us a digit again, is 25. So that's 4, 5, that's got to be a 7, that's got to be a 5, and that's already 9, 16. I think I made a mistake, didn't I? No, 12, 16, and another 9, that's 25, that's correct. Now this gets more interesting because the minimum here is a 7, given I've already placed 4 and 5, and it can see this digit of a 6, and obviously we've already placed a 1, 2, and 3. So we're already at 11. Even if this is 9, we get to 20, and with the 4, that's 24. Okay, may as well actually complete some of these. I think I have so far. This 4 sees this 5, this is a 4. I'm half tempted, I may actually do this, just to highlight which killer clues are done. That's an ugly color. Let's try a different one. Not much better, but better. That I have used these clues. I haven't used these though. So I don't miss any later on and I keep searching for them. So next, we've already got 10. It might actually be the 30, surprisingly. If you see, I've already placed 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This digit here is a minimum of 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And because of this 6, this digit here is a minimum of 7 again. So we're already at 24 at a minimum. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 all seeing this digit, or this cell I should say, and 6. So really this has to be 5. And I'm going to say there is only 1 degree of freedom in here, in that these 3 add up to 15, these 2 have to add up to 15, and we just need to figure out what they are later on. It's kind of used, I will change color, although something to remember later on is one of these is a 7, one of these is an 8, so can't lose sight of that. You can see already this is at 7 and 8 minimum. We've placed 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5 and 6. 7 and 8 minimum is 15. That can now only be a 1. That's definitely resolved. And that's blue. So now none of these are 1. None of these are 1 either. None of these are 1. I mean, that's clearly now a 9. I can just place that. You can see 6, 9, just Sudoku rules are in here. This 6 and this 9 eliminated from this option, leaving them forced into these 2 cells. So that's another 7, 8. That's another 7, 8. 17 maybe? Yeah, because I've eliminated the 1. 7 and 8 in here means this is already at the minimum. This has to be a 2 to get to 17. So that's also done. Blue again. I'm running out of clues though. Let's go. That's not a 4. That's not a 2 either. That's a 3. That's not a 3. That's a 2, 4 pair. There's definitely a 1 in here with, and no 5s. That's this 5 gives us this 5 here. These are not 2s. These are not 4s. In fact, I can place the 4. There's only one place for it. That's this 4. These are not 5s. This is 5s. This is not a 5. That's the only place for the 5. These are not 3s either. That's the only place for the 3. 1, 2 pair looking at this. That's 4. That's 2. That's not a 3. It's not quite enough to... I mean, it shouldn't be either, because we've still got a few more clues that we're going to have to check in a second. Shall I see what... I'm most tempted by the 30, because, I mean, the 30... Sorry, this 30, I should say, because that one is just a horrendously long diagonal. I'm not sure I'm up for this one just yet. I imagine there's a bit more work we can do here. So you can see that the minimum here, that's a 6, and that's an 8. That's already at 14. We've placed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on all on this cell. So already that's a minimum of 8 and 6 again. So that's another 14. 14, 14. That's extremely high already. Forcing 2 1s. And yeah, a lot of this is forced actually. 6, 8, 8, 9, and 6, 8, and 9. Meaning this is now 7 or 8. This 7 is now looking up there. That's an 8. That's a 7. Remember, this had to be add up to 15, so therefore this is now a 7. We now know this is the 9. These are 7, 8 pairs again. There's a 7, 8, and a 9 in here somewhere. And let me, before I forget, just change the color again. Have I resolved everything possible in there? Surely not. Yeah, that's a given digit. This is a 9. So close to breaking. Well, 6, 9, and 6. That's just not quite enough still. We know that there is an 8, 9 pair actually here. We have a 9 therefore is in there. This is an 8. This is a 7. This is an 8. This is 7, 8, 7, 8, 7, 9. We have a 6, 8 pair. That's a 6. That's an 8. And strangely, just the 1, 2s, and 3s are the ones that are not resolved at this point. So yeah, 38 maybe next. Surely the 31st. Right. So the minimum all of this could be 8 in here, 1, 3, and 4 is an 8. 1, 2, and 4 is a 7. That's 15 already. And then, yeah, too many options. Too many options in there. Are these really all minimized already? As in, not missed anything? I don't think I have. Other than these ones are eliminating some ones, but 38 then, surely. Okay, 11, 14 is at 25. With 2 2s, possibly, we're already at 29. Hang on. 14, 11, 25, 2 2s, 29. Neither of these can be 1s because of the ones we've placed in here. But they could all be 2s. That really seems not quite right. Might need to do a little bit of coloring here. I've definitely done all the other diagonals, haven't I? Yeah. Okay. Have I? Yes. 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 Right. Okay. Let's think about this a bit harder then. Right, so the minimum this could be would be 2 and 3 to get to 5. 10, 16, and 14. That's 30, 34. So 4 degrees of freedom. That's a tremendous amount. I'm going to somehow try and make sure that I remember these are kind of the open question marks in here. Not sure yellow is a good choice, but it will do. Let's go for a different color, green. Let's go for a different color here as well. Okay. So where do the 1s go? So this can be a 1. No, it can't be. Well, I mean, I need to kind of remove what this is because they're not necessarily 2 and 3. Because if that's a 1, 7, 6, 13, 1 and 1, 15. That's still very large. Maybe what I should be doing is just placing the digits that I can rather than continuing to worry about the 1s, 2s, and 3s. So let's just place some 5s, for example. That's a 5, for example. Yeah, that's what I should have been doing. So we need a 2, 3, and an 8. The 8 is in here. This is a 2, 3. What else do we have? Let's just delete that one. This is kind of silly placement. We've got 1, 2, and 3. We need another 1, 2, and 3 with a 4. We know where this goes. Another 1, 2, and 3 with a 9. We know where that goes. So that's 1, 2, or 3. That's 1, 2, or 3. That's 1, 2, or 3. We've placed all of them. We need 6 and 7. And the 6 is in here and the 7 is in there. Right, we have much bigger values now that we can calculate. 11 and 6 and 7, so 11 and 13. Sorry, 11, yeah, and 13, that's 24. These three have to add up to 6 now. That's a lot more restricted. It's a lot more restricted. Right, let's just lose the colors for these and just keep an open question mark on the ones we need to fill in. Now, the 38, we've also placed some digits, 11, 20, 25, 32, and these three have to add up to 6. And these three all have to be 2s. There you go. These are not 3s. These are not 3s. This is not a 2. That's a 1. That's a 3. That's a 2. That's a 1. That's a 3. That's a 1, 2, 3, 3. I said it needed to add up to 6, didn't I? I've already placed a 3 in there, meaning the remainder have to add up to 3 as well. And the only way I can do that is a 2 and a 1 and a 3, 2, 1, 3. And last digit, if I've not made any mistakes, that's the solution to today's puzzle. 18 minutes. Yeah, I mean, it's a relatively straightforward puzzle compared to some of the other monsters that we've done on the channel, but still immensely enjoyable. I can certainly see why it's got the rating that it has, and the finish was fantastic, I would say. I think you almost need to, you go in there, you place the killer cages, it's, you know, those are fairly straightforward. The 6s on the arrows, also straightforward. There's a little bit of testing of trying to find which little killer clue breaks, but I think the finish there between the 30 and the 38 to be able to actually just make it all work was fantastic. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's puzzle. I certainly have, and see you back for the next video. Bye for now.